Friends, welcome to yet another exciting episode of our series, Together for a Higher Purpose, where we talk to couples who are balancing the tightrope of family life while walking the path of spirituality. Too often, spirituality is considered to be the domain of the solitary. People, when you think of spirituality, it conjures up images of caves, deep forests, Himalayas, isolation, leaving everything behind in pursuit of the truth. Our endeavor through these episodes is to shatter this escapist view of spirituality and talk to couples who are doing full justice to their responsibilities while living the spiritual life. We want to understand from them, how do they balance their family life, how do they juggle their responsibilities, their careers, their family relationships, as well as continuing on the spiritual path and doing the spiritual practices and selfless service. So today it gives me great pleasure to invite two very dear friends, Subhasree and Harish, who are Mohanji Acharyas and who are well known in the Mohanji community because they work across so many functions, different functions within the Mohanji Foundation. So I would like to welcome you both, and also thank you because I know today is the weekend is your family day, and you still have taken up time to talk to us. So I'm really grateful for that. So welcome, Harish and Subhasree.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Rajesh.
And I know that you're a dear friend. You know a lot about us, a lot of
Yes.
secrets as well. So I know where
And
this
my
episode is
job is now
going.
to make you as uncomfortable as possible by getting all the secrets out to the people. So I think let's just start with the exciting part. So can you tell us a bit about your backgrounds and how you met each other, and also your initial tryst with spirituality?
I will go first.
Okay.
Okay. All our secrets that we hid so far is going to go out because our families are going to watch as well. But anyway, thank you, Rajesh, for this. It'll be a good, walking down the memory lane. It'll be nearly 20, it's actually 26 years that we have met each other, 27 years. We met in 1994 in Mumbai, in IIT Bombay, when we joined together for our master's course. I came from Odisha, he came from Tamil Nadu, from Chennai. And we were completely different, we're just classmates, but never thought that 25 years later we'll be sitting here and talking like this. So different Orthodox background. I come from a very, typical Odia middle class family, very religious, family oriented. So thinking of marrying somebody with your own choice, marrying outside the community, outside even the state, that was, never even my wildest dreams. I came there for higher study and to in the with the dream of fulfilling my father's dream to do something great. I was the youngest child of five, but my father really loved me a lot and gave me a lot of independence. I never left my mother to go anywhere in my education career. The first time I came out of Odisha to Mumbai to IIT. So of course the dream was something different. My only purpose that time was to make my parents proud of me, to do something that they feel proud. And we met there. We were classmates. What really make me feel about Harish was his very simple, very kind, one of the most compassionate classmate that I had. And as we have any problem, actually not just me, our entire all our classmates, we would all gather in his around his room if we need have to understand something. And I just felt very comfortable with him, and that friendship, that comfort grow into more than friendship. And when we realized that like we would like to be together and spend the rest of our lives together, we came to the practicality of oh well, I'm from Odisha, my parents are not going to allow this relationship, neither he comes from an Orthodox Kerala family, so this is not going to be possible. But I guess it was destiny, or the faith and the trust in each other, that we would get our parents also agree, our families also agree, and this will go ahead. It wasn't an easy task, but I guess our conviction on each other kept us going for 4 years, and it ended in a nice way that both our families agreed, and we got married in a proper ritual as per Odia and Malayalam, Kerala rituals, and it happened as a arranged marriage. And I'm so happy that his family accepted me so well. They treat me like a daughter actually, and so is my family accepted Harish very well. So what started with a very simple ordinary relationship, it went to such a nice way, and I'm really thankful to God, very grateful to have this relationship, which is now, when I look back, understand that it is for a higher purpose, that why we met in the circumstances that we wouldn't normally think. It is not just for getting together, get married and have family. I think we have a much higher purpose, which I am personally trying to get a glimpse of it now, slowly. There's still more to know, but that's my story.
Yeah, she told most of it, but me being a Chennai boy for most of my life, 20, 21 years in Chennai, and then I moved to Bombay for doing my post graduation, which Shubha said. So religiously, you can say I'm religious, but it is religious is like sort of a convenience, like you enjoy it during the festival, and of course we pray during exam times. You need a prayer, somebody by our side at that time. Yeah, and I did like visiting temples and religious places, spiritual places as well. I enjoyed them, but. I didn't have any sadhana or any rituals. It was bit of enjoyment as well as convenient based. So that was how life was before I came to Bombay. And Bombay was like you're alone. You have, your first time I was into hostels, guys enjoying life. And then I met Shubha. And she explained what happened after that. We finished. We were in Bombay and we started working in Bombay itself. We enjoyed, we were staying there. So our career started there in Bombay. And then we had opportunities to move to UK as part of work. Then we came to UK, we started working, we got married. Then it became like a fast-paced life. Then you become, you get involved in the society, the usual aspects what happen in a society. Okay, first thing, you need to get a house, you need to get a good job, you need to get a good career progression, then you need kids, education for kids, then again it starts, you need a bigger house now, you got more members in the family, come on. So it was it is like predefined, isn't it? And you just go along with that. So that was our family, but still I will say we were quite happy, we were very convenient. We were I wouldn't say we had any difficulties or anything. It was a happy family. Everything was peaceful. We were. That's the time when we met Mohanji also. So what I want to say is, it was not something that we were in difficulty or something which pushed us into spirituality. It was, we were still.
You already had the difficulty in Bombay. I mean, you got married, so so you didn't actually need anything else. I'm surprised that you left out the Bollywood part. I was hoping that you would put that in. That
Well,
I actually just want to tell the audience that I was also studying in IT at around the same time. I was 1 year senior to them. And the interesting thing was that our departments, I was in physics department and you were in biotech, right? Or
Earth sciences.
sorry?
Earth
Earth
sciences.
Sciences. And Earth Sciences was in chemistry. I think it was the department right in front of mine. And I never got to see these two people, and I'm sure they never got to see me. And my theory is that during that time, they were doing the Bollywood thing or running around trees.
yeah,
and
we were
singing
running
songs.
around. Yeah,
So I think
you were
left
where?
out. I think I was in the hostel getting drunk most of the time. So I think that's why we probably never met. But I think the jokes apart,
We must have actually met at Chinks.
yeah,
Middle of the
Chinks,
night,
Chinks,
1
yeah.
a.m. That's when we start our study. We first go to Chinks,
Yeah.
have a cup of coffee and Maggie and whatever, and then go and
Right.
start our study. So we must
Chinks,
have
yeah.
met there sometime.
Yeah. So I think one of the things is when you met Mohanji, like when you started out, how was that experience like? Both of you met him together or separately?
We met him together. It was like a friend of us, Hemant. He's a friend of us. We know him here. He's little spiritual as well. We knew that as well. But he once came and said that, we have a spiritual master who's coming to my house. Would you like to come have a visit? I had no reason to say no. And also he said, I asked him who's coming. He said, Mohanji is coming. Then I asked him, who is Mohanji? And he said, how come, man? He's from the same place where you come from and you don't know him. Then I said, okay, let me Google and see who is he. But I had no expectation. I thought he just invited me. Let me go have a visit, and he's from the same place where I come from. So let me just go and see who this person is. So I just went that way, met him, but there was no expectation. I didn't have an expectation or a concept that a guru has to be this way, because in my life I never had a living master, or I never had a concept also. So when I went there, it was, two things surprised me. One was the people there, like even my friend Hemant, who invited me, whose house it was, he was so excited for Mohanji to come. And I was wondering, why is he getting so excited? He coming there. And then when Mohanji came there, and when he was talking, everything what he was talking, I was so much resonating with it. I felt this person is talking so much relevant things which I wanted to hear, And but even at that point of time, I was not spiritual, like any sadhanas or anything, nothing I was doing. But I liked one aspect of it was, at that time we had ACT Foundation UK. We didn't have Mohanji Foundation as such as a charity, but ACT Foundation was there, and I very much liked the selfless service, seva being done. So I wanted to be a part of that, and I started with that only. My first set of interaction with the foundation was through ACT, and I used to do service even in IIT. When I was there in IIT, I used to go with ISKCON there. They used to give distribute food in the slum during Krishna Jayanti, and they had functions. So I used to volunteer, go there. We used to take a tempo trunk, take food, go to certain chores and give food. So I like doing those things, doing services. So that was my first interaction. First thing, Mohanji as a person, what he spoke was something which really resonated with me, and the ACT Foundation as a service, which gave me an opportunity to do service which I liked. That was my first interaction.
So were you spiritual before that? I'm saying, did you have a spiritual or a inclination before meeting Mohanji? Both of you, I think.
No.
I think I would say that it's just that we were spiritual, but we never knew that we were spiritual. Okay. So I come from this background where my mother, my father, we are very, typical Odia family, very, very religious, God believers. We believe in Jagannath. He's our, supreme God, Krishna. But also Shiva, Kali, Mother Durga, like we do all the festivals. But now that I know a little bit more about spirituality, it's all about, love, unconditional love and compassion, kindness. I have seen my mother being like that. So I can actually now say my first guru ever is in spirituality is my mother, because I've seen what is being unconditional, that feeding people, whoever comes, that unconditional love and compassion. And also that when she prays, God, without any expectation that, make my children like this or make my husband like this. She used to just pray. Taking Jagannath's name, she can spend hours and hours, and so bhakti yoga is like her path, my mother's path, which I have observed right from the beginning, and that helped me to develop a relationship with Jagannath, with Lord Jagannath, as more as a friend. Like I remember in my childhood or my young age, I would go to Jagannath temple, Puri, and I would just stand there and look at Jagannath, and I can just keep talking to him like my friend. Sometimes there will be tears flowing from my eyes. He was like my best friend, more than God asking. And that is a kind of relationship that I had. I mean, even now I have with Jagannath, growing up more than praying for my exams. So it is very, why I'm talking about Jagannath is that the story with Mohanji, for me, it started in a very typical way. So the day when he was coming to London, that we were going to Hemant Bhai's house, That day was actually a very famous religious day. It's called Rath Yatra. That's the yearly annual function when Jagannath comes out of his temple. And that year's Rath Yatra, it was 2015 July. That year's Rath Yatra, the Jagannath that we had was, Jagannath is an idol made up of wood. And every 12 years or 15 years, this wood, the whole idol is changed and it's built a new body, right? So it's called Nabha Kalevara, means new body. And that year was the Jagannath was the new body, new form of Jagannath. And and everybody, the whole world would see this new Jagannath on first day on Rath Yatra in this Ratha. So that day, because we have been talking, it's a big thing for us. My father has been talking to me about it. So the whole day it was, I was thinking how nice it would be to see Jagannath today, in the new form of Jagannath. We had a busy day. It was a Saturday, so it was busy day. We were doing something. And when Hemant Bhai called, actually Hemant Bhai belongs to the similar, my village. And so I call him as I respect him as my brother. So, how can we deny not going to his house? We went there. But only with that, I had no expectation because I am so connected to Jagannath. We never thought of having a living master or guru in our lives. So when Mohanji was speaking, yes, we liked the entire environment and everything, but I also liked his advice and what I remember I asked him some question also, but most of the time everything is actually going on top of my head. I can't claim that I understood everything that he said. Neither did I connect to him that much. But I was amazed. I mean, it was just feeling nice. That's all. Nothing beyond that. And probably Deviji was there, and I was probably my attention was a little bit to look at how pretty she is, how beautiful she is. All this other attention was there everywhere. Mohanji's feet was not good, so my attention was going on his feet as well. So basically, what I'm saying is, I had no concentration on learning. Understanding what he's saying. It was everything else other than spirituality. And then we had dinner and everything. And while Mohanji was going out, there were about 30-40 people that time and in the house. So while Mohanji was going, everybody was standing, trying to say bye to him. I was right behind, behind two doors and just trying to peep and look. That's it. I mean, I did not have any great thing. And suddenly, while Mohanji stepped down from the doorstep and getting into his car, because there were few people around him, and I'm standing there back and just peeping up, and I suddenly a vision flashed in front of my eyes, and that is a vision of when Lord Jagannath comes out of the temple. He's coming down the steps. It's a huge temple, Puri Jagannath temple. When he comes down out of the temple to go towards the Rath, the cart, how people, hundreds of people surrounding him, holding him, and he slowly stepped down one step by other, and like that vision flashed in front of my eyes. And it's like, honestly, believe me, as if 1,000-volt current passed my body, because I thought, what am I seeing? I'm seeing Jagannath, but I'm looking at Mohanji. So how am I seeing Jagannath in Mohanji? And because I told you my background with Jagannath, right? Because Jagannath is my everything. I couldn't discard this vision. I could not take this as imagination that I'm seeing, this could be imagination. So I thought about it. I came that night. It was all in my mind. Next morning, I got up, I'm sitting and I'm thinking, it was all in my mind. How did I see Jagannath in Mohanji? Why did I see Jagannath in Mohanji? And then it slowly, I felt that I should have, because that next week there was a retreat that was happening, which we had not joined because, we were not interested that time. So I thought, oh my God, what mistake did I do? I should have gone for the retreat and I could have met Mohanji more. Why did I not join? So I started cursing myself. And 2 days later, Hemant Bhai sends me a message that Friday, end of the retreat, actually Mohanji has called us open satsang. Do you want to come? And then it just struck me, I just was so wanting to meet him again. And I thought it's like as if it's a blessing that I got a chance. And I went there and I met him. And when I met both Hemant Bhai also, I told him about this Jagannath vision. And he had tears in his eyes because for ODI, Jagannath is our dear God. So he had tears in his eyes and he said, come, let's go and talk to Mohanji. So he pulled my hand and we went to Mohanji. He was standing alone, and I narrated this. We had tears in my eyes. I was very emotional because, and then Mohanji very simply said to me, yeah, that happens, right? When you are a transparent crystal, you will see what is there inside you. So you could see that reflection, what's there inside you through me. And he said, many people have seen their deity. Some people see me as Jesus, some people see as Hanuman. So it is your own constitution, your own orientation that you see, because I'm a transparent crystal. Honestly, that time this did not even make much sense to me. But I just knew that for me, Jagannath just showed me that he came to me in that form. That's something that I knew, and it was that connection. So my connection to I didn't even know that Mohanji is my guru that time. I didn't even realize that, but I just knew that there is a connection that is made, which is and the foundation of that connection is Jagannath. So this is how it started, and from there, numerous things has happened. How I have transformed and realized that Mohanji walked into my life as my guru, the life with a purpose. So it's a big story from there on. But that was the beginning. My connection with Mohanji started with my God Jagannath.
So how did that you just mentioned about it? So if you could give us a bit of background as to how this, from this humble beginnings of meeting Mohanji for the first time, and probably getting connected in different ways. Like for you, for Harish, it was seva or service. For you, it was the connection with Lord Jagannath. And from there to this point where you are committed, very hardcore committed volunteers, Mohanji Acharyas, and pretty much both of you are working both in the UK and in the global teams in several capacities. So how did that full-time, I wouldn't say full-time, but I was saying in such a committed volunteering to from where you started, how did the journey actually take place?
Yeah, for me, like I said, I started with ACT Foundation. I used to help them. I used to be in the volunteer for their activities, what I can do. I enjoyed what I did there. But I always had this feeling that, okay, this spirituality is a different part of life. Okay, it's not your way of life. It is something different. It is on the side you do that, and you have your life as they're different. Okay,
as
that
an activity.
as an activity. I thought that was my initial understanding. So Subhasree used to get involved. She used to get involved a lot in that at that point of time. For me, it was mainly service. I used to do service. And slowly I was getting involved as well. I was understanding as well. But the first thing was the first rit. I thought I need to go and experience this. Then only I can understand. Otherwise, I'm sitting outside and I'm not gaining, or I'm not understanding it. Sitting outside, you cannot understand. With the concepts that we have, we cannot understand. So I need to go and experience this, understand this. So I went for the first retreat, which was at Puar. And I had a very unique roommate there.
Yeah, I know the blessing of having the perfect roommate. I was his roommate in the first retreat. That's how I actually physically met Harish. Otherwise, I think, and I remember Subhasree telling me, saying that between the two of them, she felt that he was the more connected of the two, but he was more in the background and he didn't show it as much. I mean, he was more deeply connected to Mohanji, but he never made a display. He was more like behind the scenes. And of course, I think the moment he saw me, met me, I think all his chakras are open.
You converted it.
The complete transformation.
Actually, there is a very funny thing, Rajesh. I don't know if you know this. There's a very funny thing about this Croatia. When he went there, I think he went one day before or something. And Harish is a very family person. He loves me and the kids so much. He never leaves us and go anywhere alone as such. This is the first time, I guess, he was on a trip alone. And I guess first day he was missing us very much. So he called me from there and he was talking. He said, are you sure I'm going to feel something in this retreat? If I don't experience something, I'm going to ask your Mohanji to return my money. I said, he was actually trying to tease me. I said, yeah, go ahead, ask Mohanji, he will return your money.
See, for me, mind plays a lot of things, isn't it? A lot of questions. And the way we've been educated, I'm always looking for experience. Okay, if there is not experience, if I can't experience, there is no reality. That was the concept in my mind. And of course, when I was going to Huar, such a wonderful place, we had to
Yeah,
take a
beautiful.
ferry to go there. And
Right.
in the ferry, when I was sitting on the top floor, there were a lot of questions in my mind. Why am I even doing this? Because for the, probably for the first time, I was going alone without the family. And then I was wondering why I'm doing this. Do I need to do this? We have a family life, a lot of questions coming. And I was thinking, sitting in the boat, and there were a lot of people behind me, but they all looked, for me, they looked alien. They were talking different languages. Thing I couldn't understand what they're talking, and they were all enjoying, and they were on the background. Later on, they were the people who were there on the retreat, and when we returned, they were such a close friends to me, but
True,
that's
true,
a
true.
different aspect. In the retreat, of course, I met you. I was watching you as well. You as a volunteer, you were totally dedicated at that time. The amount of work you were doing. So that question also: why is this guy doing so much work? A lot of things coming into my mind. The retreat was a breakthrough because I had a lot of experience during the sessions, during meditation. There were a lot of experiences, and so I think that was something which I asked for. I asked for experience, and I got it. Yeah, and that pulled me more, and it gave me more curiosity in terms of, okay, I need to do more. I need to understand more, and then I got into. I applied for consciousness Kriya, and luckily, the same year Mohanji came to UK, I got initiated as well, and started doing Kriya as well. And then I got lot of, then everything moved at such a fast pace, I got involved in so many activities, started conducting meditations. I started volunteering for the website, which was posed by this guy, things like so. A lot of things. Then things moved at a very fast pace, and of course, you know what happened after that. But I would say is, I my understanding about spiritual life was different at that time. I thought it was something different. You do an activity outside your family life, and it was a learning for me to understand that spirituality is a way of life. It's not something different. Every aspect of your life, uh, the way you deal with your kids, what I learned in spirituality here, about the focus and doing an activity for a purpose. You need to understand the purpose and then do it with full focus. And this whole concept is valid everywhere, and I use it everywhere, in my work, in my family life, everywhere. So that was a big realization for me, that spirituality is actually a way of life for me. It's not something that you do extra. It's not a, you're doing sadhanas and things like that. It's not like sadhanas is a part of it. If you're comfortable doing it, you can do it. Yeah, I do. I enjoy consciousness kriya. I enjoy it, so I do it every day. So that was the biggest realization for me, that spirituality is actually a way of life. And most importantly, what I understood was I already did quite a few of them. you know I My nature was to help. I always used to tend to help people. If somebody comes and asks me anything, I always help them. So learnings of Mohanji, I realized that few aspects I already had in me. So being with Mohanji, our way of life changed a bit to the good. It's became a spiritual way of life, but it's not much different from like any family life. It's not much different. It's about having that clarity and focus on anything that you do, and of course,
Understood.
you need to understand what you're doing it for. So
Yeah.
so I don't know. She'll have her own thoughts.
For me, I think, yes, I mean, I would say that all this life, what was I doing? I was sleeping. That's what I would feel. But again, my journey on this path started with that devotion aspect, I would say, because it started with the connection of Jagannath. And I think Mohanji had to, make me realize this aspect, this connection, or the path to go beyond or for a higher purpose. I mean, it's like you cannot go and teach the mathematics of year 10 to a nursery child, right? So you need to take them step by step. Mohanji did that to me, to teach me or to tell me that our life is for a higher purpose. It couldn't be just told just like that. He took me step by step. For me, my growth has been step by step, where I did not know what is even Guru Mandala. What is it means to have Guru in my life, or why somebody needs to have a Guru in life. From that, a complete naiveness to understand that how we add value to our own life, and thus value of to the world. That's something that Mohanji actually taken a baby steps. Like, he's fed me like baby food. It was easy for me to believe or trust or understand what Mohanji says, not literally, but the value of it, the essence of it, because I had to have that base. That why should I trust Mohanji? Why should I believe what he says? That's the first thing, right? You just don't take, anybody can say anything, you can't just take. And why there are so many masters around, there's so many good things around. Mohanji is not saying out of the world things. This is all there in the scriptures. So why should I believe what he says? Why is he the man who, that I start my journey with? It's all because it started with that foundation, that faith that was put there with the connection of Jagannath that I had in me. And so there are few incidents or few experiences that happened, which really stabilized or made it more stronger, that that our my connection to Mohanji is there. It's like Jagannath. I mean, let me put it very simply, that I felt that Jagannath has come to me in the form of Mohanji. And when I really believed it, when I understood it, there is nothing more than that. There is no more proof required. There is no more questions required. There is no doubt required. And then on, it was easy for me to just flow wherever Mohanji was taking. The 5-6 years of since that day of realization, as to whether we went in doing the seva. I mean, I had a lot of physical problem myself. How Mohanji transformed me from where I was completely almost bedridden with my rheumatoid arthritis disease, to that he put that motivation, and I would get up and cook food for 70, 80, 90 people, so that we can do a charity snack stall and sell the food in my office and get the money and send to India. So this only Mohanji did that magic, where I couldn't pick up a cup of tea, and to get up and make 100 batata vadas or make pav bhaji or stuff like that, it's not easy. It's unbelievable. So that energy only Mohanji could put in me. And from there it started. It started with that, making small snack stalls or doing little bit sevas here and there, to going into kriya, to understand meditation. And it just started from there. Even yoga, Mohanji has taken me step by step, with seva activity, to then meditation, then kriya, then yoga, and finally he took me on the Acharyas thing. So basically, I was on the path, saying that once I knew that, okay, here is my Jagannath, whatever path he takes me, I'm on. I don't need to question, do I do this? I mean, I have done these things which I had no experience of. I have never done these things. I'm not good at this thing, but I never questioned. Like Rajesh, you remember when I was doing this testimonials, I'm not a writer myself. I don't have editing experience. And, when you told me handle testimonials, I didn't know. I mean, I just surrendered to Mohanji. It's never been my capacity. Whatever I have done so far in Mohanji Foundation, and nothing has been my expertise. It's never been my capacity. I truly feel that I was an empty cup, and Mohanji fills in what he thinks should go in, and I just flow with that. So I don't know how far we have come. I mean, personally, there's a lot, but the things that Mohanji said initially, very simple things that really stayed in my mind, I would say two things. One is, and that was the very first retreat that I attended. He said to me that, accept everything that comes to you, accept yourself, accept everything that is around you. And the second thing he said, that you have taken so much was from Mother Earth all this long. What have you given back? So when we left that retreat, these are the two things that I took. So I accepted my condition, my physical condition, and that the fact that Mohanji said, let the pain be there, don't suffer from it, or all that thing. So basically, I started to accept, and then the gratitude aspect flowed. That okay, I may have this pain or this physical illness, but because of this, so much of love I get from everybody else. So I started to look the other side of life, that even if I get something bad, there's so many good things that comes with it. So that acceptance actually made, this is from where, like Mohanji, from base, from ground level, he was actually building this slowly. I don't know how many floors he has built in so far, but he actually started building me from a green field to putting those small concepts of awareness, acceptance, love, gratitude. That is where the thing is building up. I know we have a far way to go ahead, but I don't think about anything. I don't think that I am doing anything or I can do anything. Mohanji has actually given me so much, like Maitri, for example. I never could think that I could be a healer. I remember Mohanji was here in London. We were traveling. I was driving one day. He said that you should become a Maitri healer. And I was like shocked. I said, what, me? How can I be a Maitri healer? I don't understand energy and healing and all those things. And Mohanji said, no, that will be good for you. And so when Mohanji said, that's it, right? For me, what Mohanji says, I just take it. I don't question. And today, 4 years of Maitri, everything Mohanji does, I just follow, as an instrument. And when I look back and see how many people have been benefited through the Maitri sessions that have been done. I have not done anything, but being an instrument, being just, part of it, I feel if I could help in, or my time that was spent, my physical time that was spent for, which gave so much of changes to people, that is worth, right? This life has been worth. Otherwise, what I would have done, sitting down and watching some serials or going here and there. So of course, this is where you understand the value of your life or the purpose of your life, where it is beyond your family, it is for something else also. But so these are the things that Mohanji is slowly giving us bit by bit. I would say the transformation that has happened bit by bit, really drop by drop. That is how it has happened so far.
I want to just add another thing was, for me, the big realization was also the grace. Understanding that there is something called grace and how it flows was something which I realized over the time. And one thing which I want to tell about was, where I experienced grace flowing on into my family's life was to do with my dad's illness. He had a serious terminal illness, so we knew that he's going to pass away at some time. But the illness was such that we know that he's going to have a lot of suffering because of that, and there's a lot of expense, a lot of taking care to be done. And I was here in UK, he's there in India, and the if you look at the full story in terms of when he was diagnosed till he passed away, all the treatment, whatever happened, how it all happened. When I look at the whole picture, I understand how grace has flown. Right from the start till the end, he has taken care of every bit, every bit. Mohanji had taken care of everything. Like if I'm here, I have an elder brother. So the responsibility sort of was within us to take care of him. And we both are outside the country. We both are not in India, and we are away. But my dad, there was no shortage in me or my brother being with my parents. My brother was there most of the time because he was staying closer, as well as I did spend the time as well. And financially, we didn't have a problem as well. I don't know where money came from. Money just came in, and it was not an easy treatment. It was quite expensive. We had to get medicines from US. We had to import it because these medicines weren't available in India to give the treatment. So these were quite expensive as well. But I don't understand where the money came from as well. Money just flew. It just came in, and it didn't come from some other people. It came through us only. It came through us. We were there for him. And I see that he had a very quality life till he passed away. Even the day, I remember the day when he went to the hospital where he was going for an injection, after which he had a cardiac arrest and he passed away. Even the day he went to the hospital, he walked on his own. He went, sat in the car, went to the hospital, things happened. But Mohanji has helped every person there to increase their awareness, understand the situation, and handle the situation properly. My dad, before he passed away, year before, he fell seriously ill. His kidney failed. Okay, and doctors felt that he's not going to come back because that kidney doesn't recover at that stage. He already had some 7, 8 dialysis, and I went there. I was not
So
ready.
before that, can I add to it before you add your story? The day Achan was diagnosed, I was flying to Shirdi because my yoga, the first yoga teachers training was starting in Ganeshpuri. I was supposed to go to Shirdi and then next day go to Ganeshpuri. So 2 hours before I was boarding the flight, we got the message that Achan has been admitted into ICU because of this. It was such a last minute that I couldn't cancel and had to Harish go. So we just immediately thought, anyway, I'm going to Bombay. Let me go land down there, and maybe instead of going to Shirdi, I will fly to Coimbatore, where he was. And in the flight, I was just thinking, because I was going to meet Mohanji also in Shirdi. Mohanji was there that time. You may remember, Rajesh, you were there as well. Yeah. And I was just thinking in the flight, Mohanji, what's your plan? Am I going to really meet you in Shirdi? Am I going to meet Shirdi Baba? Because I'm going to Shirdi after 13 years. So I was thinking, am I really going to meet Baba? Am I going to meet you, or am I going to go to Coimbatore? What's your plan? Anyway, whatever your plan, I'm here, I'm in the flight, take me. So I get down at Bombay airport and I called up my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law. They said to me that, he's in ICU. We are all outside. Very few people can be here. There's nothing more that we can do. So there is no point you coming here. So you go ahead for what purpose you have come. You go and do your job. We will keep you informed. There's no point you coming here. I mean, that will be an additional burden for them anyway, me being there. So then I said, okay, let me go ahead. Maybe, going to Shirdi, meeting Mohanji, seeing Baba would be, praying for his good. So I went ahead to Shirdi. I met Mohanji. And when I met Mohanji, I, of course, told him. And this is something that I did not tell Harish that time, what Mohanji told me about Achan. He said that, he let me see what I can do. But, his soul is asking, why should I stay anymore? There is no more purpose for him to stay on, to take on any more suffering and stay on. So when he said this, I know no son can hear this. I was thinking, oh my God, if I tell this to Harish, what will he feel? And then Mohanji, he reads my mind. He looked at me, he said, okay, I'll see what we can do, And then I just frustrated him. And then next day we went to Ganeshpuri. Every day morning I used to think, I don't know whether I'm going to be here or I need to go to Coimbatore. That time, my brother-in-law, who was in the hospital, he told me that doctors have said Achan's condition is such that minimum 3 weeks that he needs to be in the ICU, minimum 3 weeks. And so every day, I used to just write to Mohanji about this, and Mohanji said, don't worry, we are doing what we can. Just have your faith. And Harish was, of course, a bit worried, and because I was here and all that. Then after I was like flowing with Mohanji that, okay, maybe I will not be able to continue my training, and maybe I have to finish it. I mean, I have to leave it and go. But he let that training happen. I completed the training 10 days, and then I came back to London, and Harish flew. So, but while I was there in Ganeshpuri, on the third day of going there, my brother-in-law calls me and says, Achan is out of the ICU, he's in the general ward. So I knew that is the time when I knew Mohanji's, this is not happening just like that. Even a doctor is saying 3 weeks, and then on third day he's out in the general ward. And so I knew, I was confident that, if Mohanji has said, I will see what I can do, things will be okay. After I returned to London, Harish went back, Harish went there and he was looking after. And one day he said that, okay, we are on our back home. And, that was exactly the third week of Achan going there. So I was thinking the third week, the 3 weeks that he was supposed to be in ICU, actually in the third week, he's back home completely recovered. So if that is not miracle, and Harish, I think, understood.
For me, now looking back, it's a different case. But that time I was so anxious. I wanted dad to be safe. Okay, he has to get well. First thing I do is, okay, we're lucky few people who message Mohanji as well. So I wrote to Mohanji, please do something. That was my question. Help him. That kind of thing. So that was my message to him. And you know how Mohanji responds. Yeah, I'll do what I can do. I will certainly do what I can do. And then Mohanji, and then I went. My only thing that time was, dad should be okay. I have to take him back home. And when I went there, his kidney was not responding at all, which means he had to go in dialysis every other day. And dad was so fed up with dialysis. He didn't. Well, it's not easy taking a dialysis. It's not easy. And I reached there the second day after the dialysis. Even the doctor was surprised. His kidney started recovering on its own. They look for certain parameter. They do a blood test, and then they were also surprised. Then they did one more dialysis, and after that there was no need. They saw that the kidney was almost recovered, and then he said, "Okay, you're okay now. You can go if you want." And then I took dad, went back.
And that was the experience of grace.
That was the experience. But to be frank, I didn't understand the full concept of experience at that time. Okay, because I was not ready. I was not ready for my dad to leave at that time. I was not ready. And then dad came back. We came home, and after a year, he passed away. I still remember when he fell ill again. He went to ICU in the hospital. He was there. Everybody was there. My brother was there. My mother was there. I was coming. I was flying there. This time, I was in a different state. First thing I obviously took my phone, wrote a message to Mohanji. This time I asked him, "Can you please bless my dad?" I didn't ask him that you save him. That was not my question to him. I asked. So certainly, when I look back, I went there. I saw my dad, and after an hour or so, he passed away. He was waiting there probably for some time, and then he passed away. So when I look at the whole picture, the day he got diagnosed, the whole treatment, my dad had Mohanji gave time and space for my dad to do a lot of things at that time, those period. And he kept us so comfortable, in terms of there was no shortage of anything. Time, money, anything. I had worried, like, where the money is going to come. Probably we'll have to sell a property, that or this, something, because it was expensive. But nothing happened. Money just came in, and his treatment was taken care of. And he didn't have the amount of suffering that usually a person with that illness will have. He didn't have that suffering. People towards the end, they become crippled. They can't even walk. And I remember he went walking to the hospital on the last day when he had to go for the treatment.
In that 1 year that he recovered from the kidney, and when he died, actually 10 months. In that 10 months, he's done some renovation of houses. He sorted all his property things for his wife and the sons. He's, like holding a bag in his, he just walked around, sat in an auto rickshaw, and everything it's like Mohanji gave him that birth when he came out of the kidney failure, right? It's like a rebirth. And Mohanji sent him that 10 months to sort out everything. And then he just walked in, 2 days time had a heart attack and he passed away without any suffering at all. I mean, this only can be possible in grace, and that what Harish is trying to explain is that Mohanji allowed us as his children, as his son, and we were able to do our duty, in our own way. We were able to do our duty towards parents, and that's not easy. That's not a simple thing to complete our dharma as children, and grace factor. So you don't know at that point of time. When you look back, you know
Yeah,
everything.
even when my dad passed away, he took care of everything. Just imagine that day, my mom was, she didn't accept the fact that my dad passed away. And she was in shock. And remember just realize who walked in. Mohanji comes into my house. You all walked in, came into my house. He spoke to my mom. And it's only after that she came out of the room. During dad's cremation, everybody comes and offers something, flowers or something, and then you take the body for cremation. My mom didn't come. She didn't accept the fact that he passed away. She was angry, like sort of, how can he leave me and go? That was her concept. But somebody had to come. I know Mohanji had come that day to my house to do a lot of things, which I'm not in the capacity to understand at this point of time, but he has done a lot of things. Only thing I understand that he took care of my mom. He came, he spoke to her, and she calmed down. She settled. That was very important for me. So looking at the whole thing, you see right from the start till the end, taking care of my mom after my dad passed away. That was just. Then I realized what grace means. What a presence of Mohanji in our family, what it does is now I don't care about anything.
But it's actually interesting, Rajesh. I don't know if you know this. Harish's father or mother or anyone from his family never followed Mohanji. In fact, people knew that I follow Mohanji, he's my guru, and Harish is just, he has no other choice but to support me. And so people do make, they laugh at me. It's not that they insult, but they don't believe in him and they laugh at us. And, what is this? We have no other, better things to do in life rather than, following a master. So even my mother-in-law never followed Mohanji, neither my father-in-law. So, but look at, we get surprised that in spite of our family not following Mohanji and not believing Mohanji, how much Mohanji has done for them. This is unbelievable. And my mother-in-law, of course, now realized, a little bit, not as much as us, but probably they realized. So when the grace comes from them, it's not looking at, okay, only this person follows me, I should save him. Only this person prays to me, I will give grace. Mohanji doesn't think like that. And that walking in of Mohanji surprised not just us, but the entire family. Nobody would believe that Mohanji can just walk in and to comfort Amma like that. So yeah, it's like
So how
it's
did your families actually consider, because Mohanji is an important part of your life, so your family, your children, especially the children, and also your friends, how did they accept? Because typically a lot of people, as you rightly said, I think people either kind of make fun of you, or they put doubts in you, saying that, are you really sure you want to follow a master? So, or being on the spiritual path as well, even without a master. So how did your family or your children and your friends take it, and how did you handle this aspect?
I will tell this because I went on this path first. I've taken the bunt. Okay, so first of all, because I met Mohanji in London and I went for the retreats, so the first ones to react to my, people to know that I'm doing something different, unusual, was my friends. So because we live in a foreign land, none of our family is here. Our friends who have been here with, for many years with us, they're our family. So our life was around our friends or our children's friends. So suddenly I was going in a different path. I was going, no, sorry, I can't come for this treat or this outing because I'm going for some Mohanji retreat or Mohanji's work. So that is when they say, oh, what happened to you, Subha? Have you gone mad? So somebody in fact told me, I remember there is a comment that came to me, when ladies go into their 40s, this is what happens. This is called midlife crisis. Either they go into an extramarital affair or they go to spirituality. This was also a comment that came to me, because it's a part of my life. So yes, I did face, nobody really criticized as such, but people didn't take it that well, because there's a change in lifestyle. And initially I used to get bothered. I used to really get bothered that, oh, why people are not understanding. And when that shift was happening in me, right? Also, major thing that we stopped eating non-vegetarian. I became vegetarian. And so that was a big change in our lifestyle of, becoming vegetarian. So these are small things in our life which uh, make us stand apart, and that was a change, a revolution that was happening, and it was not easily accepted by everybody. It was not easy for me as well, so it took us time. Same when we used to go back home to India, like as I said, our relatives will laugh at us. In my home, my side, I didn't, nobody on the face said anything against, but I knew some part of my family also don't really appreciate following a guru or going into spirituality. But they, every one common thing that both our families liked is whenever we were involved in a charity work, like when I go to Odisha, we do some feeding or giving to the leprosy people or the children. I've seen my father mother also sitting there packing the bags, going, and so when it comes to a seva activity, my whole family was there. And then I keep telling, as I meet them, I keep telling them the stories or the experiences, or that how we have felt grace and all. So that has, it's a constant educating, it's a constant information that we need to share to our families. And they have experienced, and over 6 years now I can tell very confidently, and it's a good news, Rajesh, that my friend circle in here have accepted completely. They let me be how I am, and our families have accepted. So we don't have anything against us, though. It's like, it's been some time, and it was an effort from my side, from our side, to accept, okay, people will not accept us, it's okay. It's okay, we shouldn't expect that they should all be supporting us or praising us or completely. Even if they don't accept, let them take their time. We should have the conviction to stick to what we believe in, and that was the only thing that worked, and I think we continued with that. Yeah, so what I was saying is that, it was our conviction and a learning for us that we need to stick to what we believe in, and not
Exactly.
not expecting everybody to just accept what we do, but people will see in the end. So that was about our friends and families. And so many things, like as I said, grace has happened.
For me, for me, the big thing was I was always thinking what they will think, what my parents will think. You know, it's not about what I want to do. It's about what others will think. And I think
Right.
that changed. And that was something which was needed, which I learned from Mohanji, that is what we need to do. And now, when that thinking is not there, everything is fine.
No, but
If
I think I like the point that Subhasree mentioned, saying that finally one thing that came out is that your life is your example. So when they look at what you do,
mm,
and they see the good that comes out of what you do,
yeah,
and slowly, I think after all, they know you as rational beings. You've been working for a long time. You're been doing the right things, whether it's in family or in the career, and they see you doing the right things for your family as well as for the world. So I think at some point in time they get it that it's maybe may not be that foolish or stupid for them to do it, and they realize, and when looking at your example, they probably agree that it seems okay. It looks like it's not that
yes,
bad after all.
totally, yeah.
And of course, as she rightly said, conviction.
Mm,
It's very important to stand by what you believe in and stick to that, because
yeah.
eventually people get it. So how did that change for you? Because you mentioned that you were actually worried about what they think. So how did you adjust to that?
It was my learning. I know I don't need to worry about that, right? It is my thinking, my concepts. And once that dropped off, it was much easier. It was much easier, you know. And then we were being an example, not just for family, this one for kids as well. Even having a teenage kid is difficult, making them understand is difficult. But Moji always said, you be the example. You have to show your way of life, and that is the right way of life. What you're doing, and you're doing it very well, and that has helped us a lot. Friends have started seeing us for quite a few years now, and they don't now accepted it. They accept it now. They comes to help us now. I think next weekend we are going for a seva. My friend is joining me to do that. He's coming and joining me, and we both are going to plant some fruit trees. This is the change. And of course, when I called my mom, we do talk about Mohanji now after some, some we talk about that. So people have accepted, and the big change was on myself, on my concepts, my way of thinking. Yeah.
I
So
think
what about the children? I think the children, I think for them it's up close and personal because they suddenly see you
Yeah.
possibly spending more time with somebody else or for somebody else. So how did they take to the change?
Yeah, I think this is very important part, and more I guess tangible thing also. Our children were a bit smaller when this all started. Like my second son was very small, but my older son was he was just getting into teenage that time, 13, 14. So he could understand, but he couldn't understand what some suddenly what has happened. Suddenly somebody is coming to our home, or we are like we have this photo, we are saying we are going here and there, we are every Saturday morning we are there for cooking, or something or other. People are coming, we are meeting, we are having this meditation, we are suddenly having this chanting. This was all very new for my kids, especially for my older one. He wouldn't understand all these things. So there are initial times. I remember we have asked Mohanji, what do we do, Mohanji? Like what do we actually teach them? What do we tell them? And also me, us becoming vegetarian. This was change for him, like suddenly, turning vegetarian. So these were changes for him. And when I asked Mohanji, Mohanji told me very clearly. He said, "Never try to teach your children anything. Don't tell them to do anything. You can explain the things, that why you have become vegetarian, for example. You explain, but don't ask them to follow you. Don't ask them to do what you do. Don't make them do anything. You keep doing what you do, and they will observe you. If they feel like, they will follow you, or they will do that thing, and slowly children will do. So especially with parenting, I was, it's a big change for me. It's not that my children needed to change. I have changed. As a parent, as a mother, how anxious, how stressful, how worried I was for my children and their future or whatever they study, that how I was before and how I am now. That was a complete transformation that Mohanji got me, where it's all about this few simple principle of, drop your ownership. You do not own your children. you know they have their own agenda. You just be the example, and also accept them as they are. Monji says you don't need to teach your children. All you need to do is give them love. Be their friend, and especially the teenage child, you have to be their friend. So I think now I feel, I mean, Harish also will feel very proud that we never call them that you should do this, we should do that, but they have picked up this attitude of, when we are doing any seva activity, they will come and join us, and they do wholeheartedly. It's not that I'm forcing them to do it; they will do it wholeheartedly. So that is when I see, what Mohanji has transformed and to us, which is also reflected in our children. So they understand what we are doing is giving us joy, and they accept that, and they also understand that what we're doing in forms of the selfless service, they also feel nice. In fact, 3 days back, we were talking, we were all together. My son came and I was just asking him that, Shreyank, in the 5-6 years that I've been in this journey with Mohanji, do you see any changes in me? I just asked him, like, just like a friend. Then he said so clearly in crisp points, and I was shocked. He said, "Yes, Mama, you are, you are not suffering from a physical illness. Now you're feeling much better. You are not on bed anymore." Then he said that, you are not shouting us at us anymore. And then third point, he said, "You and Papa don't fight more now." And then he said, fourth point, "You don't seem to be very stressed anymore now." And the fifth one, he said, "You do much more charity work." And when I heard these 5 points, and I think everything that he said which mattered to him, I guess probably in that sense. But I felt he's now 18, but he has seen me progressing. Because he remember when he was 13 when I started this, he remembers, and he that is why he could tell me my transformation in bullet points. So children, we never force them, right? We are sitting meditation, come and sit and do with meditation, come and sit with chanting, or come and so we never force them anything. They have accepted how we live our life, and they believe in that. I mean, we don't force them to believe anything, but I guess they do and observe.
So actually, that's very interesting, because I think one of the things I want to ask you is, you have full-time jobs. You also have a full family to take care of. You traveled a lot. I think, as Subhasree, you travel a lot, and yet you're like, you do a lot of volunteering, both charity as well as a lot of Acharya events and programs, as well as coordination in the back end and so on and so forth. So I think you got like a full plate, both of you. I think both of you are full plate, and yet you are doing the right things with the family, whether it's the family back home in India, as well as your close family, your children, as well as friends in the UK. So how do you manage all that? How do you juggle your time, and how do they cope with it? Because, like, accordingly, I mean, as you rightly said, your other activities have taken a whole new meaning and purpose in your life. So for that, I mean, obviously your friends, family, and kids want more of you. So how do you juggle, and how do they accept?
Yeah, you have to do everything. You have to do your family life as well. Just before this interview, I had taken Samba for his cricket session. So you have to do what you have to do as part of your family life. But what I've learned is from being in the foundation is about working in a very agile and focused way of working. It just saves a lot of time. It just saves a lot of time. And I don't understand where I get all this time now. Suddenly you start getting time, to do more and more work. It's about the way you work. The way you work. Mohanji guides us in a way how to be so focused, and being having that clarity on the work what you're doing and why you're doing it, and you have to do it in a very agile way as well. That is not just applicable to the foundation work, Mohanji Foundation work. You can use it everywhere. Even in my office work, I'm more agile now. I can do things well. It's the same principle. You don't need to differentiate other work. Effectiveness has increased really well, and that gives us more time to do more work as well. And if we have an intention, work happens. It does. Yeah.
I see it a little differently, Rajesh. I don't know if what our audience will understand it or not, but I do feel that there is a much more powerful energy behind this. There was a point of time before this corona happened. For nearly 18 months, I used to travel to Denmark every week, like going on Tuesday morning, coming back on Friday. So you can imagine my children, 2 children, Harish has to go office, and the 2 kids, and it's
You would
unbelievable.
cook
And
Maggie, instant noodles. You would cook instant noodles as
All
dinner.
that. I can cook some food.
So, and this assignment was only for 6 weeks. I only accepted this because it was for 6 weeks. But 6 weeks became 6 months. It became 18 months. And I only coped, and all of us coped, not because we are some superhuman. We are not superhuman. But it just happened because of that, some supreme energy behind us. I used to sometimes tell in fun to Harish and my friends that, I have the world's best childminder in my home, so I don't have to worry about my children, and that's Mohanji. And when I say this, I really mean it, because how he's made my children self-sufficient, independent. Forget about the older one, even the younger one. He was 10 that time. He became independent, that my children don't fall sick. Imagine if that condition they fall sick, so keeping them healthy, keeping them not worried. Of course, I do have house help, getting the right house help. In this time, sitting in London, can you believe that you get a nice Indian lady who comes to your home, takes care, cooks food for you, takes care of your house when I'm not there? It's not possible, right? So every time right people come to give you help, your children behave in a right way. You have the help around you, and you are kind of protected from anything wrong that goes. So I had to be there for the 18 months, or I had to do something for Mohanji Foundation, or I have to do for something else. It's a teamwork. It's not me who is doing it. In fact, for me to be able to do that work, Mohanji facilitates everything around me, so that I can focus and do this. Even my work, there are times when, if something important has to be done for Mohanji Foundation, I would see that my calls at office get cancelled or things like that. So it's not just one time. It's not coincident. I've seen this, and this is where you know that what you're doing is for a much larger purpose. There is no selfish intention here for anybody. I don't do anything for Mohanji. Mohanji does not get a bit out of it. Everything, and I don't get anything out of it. Everything that happens is for a larger purpose. And that is why the whole environment, the whole universe is behind you. That is why the whole setup isn't done in that way that you can efficiently do your work. I still have only 24 hours, and I don't have the capacity. I'm not superhuman, or neither is Harish. But everything gets sorted for us. That parents are taken care of, children are taken care of, job is going on well. So I would just say it's a divine miracle. I mean, how else can I explain it?
I think I wanted to underscore a few points here. So as Harish rightly mentioned, right, when your purpose is clear, when your priorities are clear, it's not shirking them, but keeping things in perspective, saying, okay, this is important for me, and making time for that. So that is something that is important. The second thing is time remains the same, and your priorities remain the same, but your effectiveness has to improve. So in that sense, you really try to, because once your focus is clear, your purpose is clear, then you know what to spend time on. A lot of time, I think a lot of people don't know where to spend time, and they're just ambling around. But now that your focus is clear, there's a lot less wasted time, because there's no time to waste. And the last part that Subhasree mentioned is grace. Grace is an essential part, where when you focus on a higher purpose, the grace that flows through the tradition, through the master, mostly through the master, and from the master to the tradition, the master is behind you, the divine energy is with you. So that actually makes sure that things are evened out, all the obstacles are taken care of, and things are more smoother in that sense. So I think I just wanted to highlight those few points that came out of what you guys said.
Spot on, Rajesh. I'm glad that you could understand a bit. I'm not rambling.
No, I think one question I had over here is, I think you already mentioned what Shreyank mentioned, but between the two of you, what changes do you see in Harish, and likewise, what changes do Harish see in you? I mean, the transformation over the last 5-6 years that has happened.
Big transformations are big. A lot of things, like what Shreyank said, she doesn't get angry nowadays quite often. That does happen. But, Subhasree as a person, core characteristics are the same.
Yeah.
Okay, that hasn't changed. If she wants to do something, she will do. Okay,
Right.
and she will finish it. And even if it is a thing which she doesn't know, still she will finish it. She will do it somehow. So, like, for example, previously her priorities was, okay, I need a house. She will find a house. She will make sure I accept it, and we'll buy the house. Yeah. Then if she had a project that, okay, I need to extend my house, she'll make sure you do it. This one. Same thing now also. If Mohanji says get a book published, she doesn't know anything about publication, but still the book will come.
She gets it.
She will get it done. So her focus has changed. Now she's focusing on the right thing. Mohanji is guiding her in terms of getting the right priorities, what is the purpose, getting things clarity there, and things will get done. So her characteristics are there, and Mohanji is utilizing her in the right way, in the right in her.
So individuality remains the same. She still,
Same.
her individuality is unchanged, or
Yeah.
uniqueness, or what makes Subhashri
Yeah.
Subhashri. That's still the same, but
Same.
the she's using it for the right way.
Correct.
I would
And
say.
one more thing is, now you understand about, she's more in the present. She doesn't understand,
Yeah.
she doesn't get anxious, or she doesn't get, panicking doesn't happen, thinking about future or things like that. So that way, she's much calmer. Like what Shreyang said, she doesn't get angry much because of that. And that is a big change in her as well.
Okay, so changes in Harish. I would say, like as you said, his lifestyle as spiritual lifestyle that he's taken. For me, his support, that he's understanding and he's allowing me to be myself. That was, I think, great support, I would say, rather than change in him. Because whatever I'm able to do, I cannot do this if I didn't have his support. So he has been always supportive, but to understand, this is completely different, right? I went on to this belief, or I went on this path. So that was something uh, like inseparable. I mean, for my being continuing in the purpose, and truly, as Mohanji says, or as the title says, I can't say this is I am working for a higher purpose. I truly feel that we both are working for the higher purpose in a way. We can't, it's both sides of the coin. It can't be like I can't do anything without him. So that's I would just say, rather than his transformation, I can only say how it is important for my spiritual progress, or for my purpose, Harish's contribution towards it.
So how has your relationship matured over time? So I think over this last 5 6 years, a lot of things have changed for you. I think your perspective, your purpose, your focus, your goals, even where you spend your time, and even everything that you do. I think there's probably a huge difference between the Harish and Subhashri of 5 or 6 years back to today. So how has the relationship between you two changed over time?
Easy.
I think it's, one important thing is, now we are giving time to understand ourselves as well. We are trying to go within ourselves as well, trying to understand what I am, what is my good qualities, what I'm bad at, what I need to improve on, things like a lot of things. So we both are working for the same purpose, but in different ways. She has got her own activities, I've got my own activities, but everything falls in place in the house in terms of family running and everything. It's got its place, it needs to function, and it runs in synchronization. Okay, so you can't keep a template for a family that it has to work this way. Okay, you can't keep a template, but a family life has to run. People have to realize themselves. A lot of other things has to happen, and everything happens, in synchronization in different ways, in whatever ways. So I'm here for this family for a specific reason, to support. Like she said, she needs support as well. Kids are there, the family reason is there. Similarly, she's also there, but we are working in different ways. Within the foundation, we work in different hands. I'm not sitting with Subhashri and we both working out a plan or something. I'm working on something different. She's working on something different. But the
But
purpose is the
in
same.
terms of relationship, I would say that our expectations have reduced, and usually, and I'll tell you this, probably it is more common
Expectation
that,
and acceptance.
yeah,
Both.
so usually it is the, more, it's always wives who expect a little bit more from husband. I'm sorry, ladies. Most of the time it is like that. So I guess when the expectation grows, all the fights happen, or when the relationship goes into a turn, whatever difficult patch, because of this expectation and non-acceptance. I would say that my expectation on various things from Harish probably reduced, or maybe my attention went somewhere that I don't find time to expect certain things. So, and then my acceptance of him also, many times whenever, like I said, we used to fight earlier, or I used to get angry, is when I don't accept certain things or I expect more. That has reduced. And when one person calms down, the other person also calms down. So I guess there's more peace and less of fight, or less of difference of opinion, because our focus has changed.
Yeah,
So
no,
definitely.
I think one thing that you also mentioned is that there's unspoken support for the purpose that you have both embarked on, both spiritually as well as for your purpose in the world. So one thing that comes out is, I think, whether it's your children, your friends, or your immediate family, there is a understanding that there's something bigger than yourself that you're working for, and people, both you to each other as well as the rest of the people to both of you, people are stepping up to kind of take some part of it, so help out in that larger purpose, because it's no longer just the four of you or the slightly extended family, but you think of your goals or your focus is on a wider purpose. So you step back a bit, there's a little less ownership, a little less expectations, and I guess a lot more expectations. I think that sums it up. So one thing is, I think you've been on the been married for 20, or been together for 26 years. You've been on the spiritual path for quite a long time, and there are a lot of married couples who are probably getting it. And as I said earlier, there are a lot of misconceptions, misperceptions about married life and spirituality. So what is your advice for couples on the spiritual path?
You want to go?
I'll go. Yeah, I think I will not say any advice, but I will tell something that Mohanji had told me, and this was probably just before the COVID thing. I met him once in Slovenia, and my mother-in-law was there. She had come here that time, and I had gone to Slovenia to meet Mohanji because that was already planned. For some reason, I think I was slightly upset, and but I did not convey anything. I was really upset with Harish or something, and I did not actually complain Mohanji about anything. I was just sitting, we were talking, and suddenly Mohanji said to me, he said, Subhasree, if you have come to this life and you have a family, that's your dharma. You came with that purpose. So your family is with you for a reason. So you cannot ignore your family dharma. You cannot ignore your family, your role as a mother, as a wife, or as daughter or daughter-in-law. You cannot ignore that aspect. At the same time, you cannot also ignore, you cannot also divert from your path that you have come here maybe after many lifetimes. So you have no choice but to have a perfect balance to your dharma, which is your duty, family dharma, as well as your spiritual dharma. So strike a balance. You cannot have just this or that. If you just stick to your spiritual dharma and ignore your family, then you are acquiring karma. Then you have to come back again to complete this. If you just stick to your family dharma and divert from your spiritual path, then you will fall down to so many lifetimes that you were there before, and you'll need to take that many lifetimes to come back again. So you have no choice. And he said, look, this is not a path of roses. This is a path of fire. And you will get a lot of tests, but this is where you have to make a balance of your family life and your spiritual life. So he said this very simply, very nicely, but I guess it is very stern message from him that I can't really get escape from anything. I can't escape from family. But what I realized, Rajesh, again I'm telling this because it's not emotion, but I have seen it again and again. Whenever, because we stay away from our parents, for example, right? So far away. And I feel there are times that when I'm not able to serve my parents physically, that's exactly when Mohanji would somehow arrange maybe a Maitri session for somebody elder, or somehow some seva, or arranging food for elders. Somehow I will serve in such a way, and I will actually feel that as if I'm serving my parents. And that when I look back, I see that somehow my parents stay healthy, or they get what they need, or they have been looked after. So it's like, in an indirect way, I am serving somebody, and somebody else is serving my parents. This arrangement is not seen in naked eyes, but this arrangement is happening through the divine support which I see. So I can see that I'm able to fulfill my dharma as a daughter, or a daughter-in-law, or as a family. I'm able to do that by serving other older people. When I want to serve my parents, I serve other older people, and my parents are taken care of. Same way, children, of course, the each other support is extremely required. Today morning, I had a call with India people for something else, and that is the time when my son had to go for cricket match. So Harish came and served breakfast to him. This happens most of the time, So that time, if Harish says that, look, you stop your call and come and feed, give breakfast, that's where our work will be, not going ahead well, right? So this supporting each other is extremely important. And how can a family run without support? It needs to be run, right? Similarly, the house help, I told you about the house help. It's not just money that people come and work for. She has to look after my house. She has to cook food for my children, my family, as the way like she's cooking for her family. How is that happening? People will, you can throw money, but you can't get that feeling, that love from people, right? So because I may be giving her love, or I may be showing her care somehow, that she feels like, let me do it for, for her. So this is always a give and take. Everybody is like working a team. Everybody is supporting each other. No one single person is doing anything. I think with people who are like us in our family, this is a much tougher journey for us. It's difficult at times. You feel, I mean, initially I used to have a lot of guilt. I'm not doing enough for my children. I'm not doing enough for my family. I'm not doing anything at all for my husband. I do feel that guilt. But then we understand that, with each other's support, we are doing something for, probably for a greater purpose. And that purpose is what keeps us insane, in the sense that, keeps us grounded, and keeps us focused, and keeps stable, that focus. And that's what I think I would say for all the couples. You do your duty. As Mohanji says, you can't ignore your family, or you can't ignore your spiritual life. You have to just walk in balance, and you learn how to walk in balance. It's matter of time.
To add to that, Rajesh, another thing is, what she said is the, very relevant thing. But most importantly, not most importantly, importantly, you need to be in the present as well. Most of the families, they get anxious or panicking, getting angry. Everything happens because they're thinking about the past or the future, and they totally forget being with the family in the present. You need to be with the family. You need to enjoy, be with the time, with the family, and stop thinking about the past and the future. Whatever things happen in the past, don't think about that. You learn from it, but you just can't keep repeating that again and again, if you keep thinking of that is, I think, which is very important.
Yeah, I think very beautifully said. You said two beautiful things, Subhashi. One is that you cannot do away with the responsibilities, whether it's a family, children, friends, all of that. You still have to do a great job at that. And because that is what you came here for, fulfillment with your family, with your parents, with your in-laws, with your children. And so there is spiritualism cannot be an escape hatch. And then the second part is you need to, I think in the earlier conversation, both of you talked about conviction, standing up for your beliefs. So you still have to understand that your spiritual life is as important, and you do whatever you can within your means to get that done. So I think those two aspects are very important. And one thing that both Harish and you mentioned is about your life being your example. So rather than preaching to people and telling people, one is you stand your ground in terms of what you believe in, but you let your life do the talking, because when they look at you, they look at a higher purpose. They automatically see the beautiful things that you're doing, and then they a understand what you're doing and understand that it's for a higher purpose, and b they also get inspired to follow that. So I think that also is a very good thing. And the last thing you mentioned is support for each other. I think in various ways you mentioned that the underpinning of a good family is support. When you look to each other, accept each other, when you have lesser expectations, and at the same time you realize that both of you are trying this. It's not a relationship where you're just selfishly looking at each other for fulfillment, but there's a higher purpose, so you support each other to ensure that, keeping that larger view in mind. And then I think Harish also mentioned about keeping the focus on what's important, that once you have a higher purpose, everything else falls in place because the grace comes. The higher purpose ensures that all your life is seen in the right perspective, whether it's family, friends, the things that you do. So I think it's a very, very beautiful and amazing discussion, and I'm sure a lot of people, married couples and couples who are together, who are listening to this, will derive a lot of benefit from this. So I really, really thank you both from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out. I know you just come out of a cricket match and probably getting into one more later, but I think really, really grateful to both of you to have spent this time. It's a wonderful discussion, and we look forward to more discussions like this in the future. So thank you very much for taking the time out, and we'll look forward to more such conversations in the future.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Rajesh.
Rajesh.
You also took time out. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Jai Mohanji.
Thank
Jai
you.
Hind.
Jai Mohanji. Thank you.